So here's what we have. This is what broke last time. We have the factory axles with it utilizes some, all right, stay in focus, sorry. Utilizes some U-joints. Now these were solid U-joints, about the best you can buy U-joint wise. And put that together and it snapped. The worst part is when you snap these, it bangs around in there and it ovals it out. So reusing them sucks. So we want to replace these, which are also weak in here, with CV axles. Oh, come on, focus, bro. What is going on with you today? Okay, CV axles. So what you have to do is, you got the CV here. Come on, focus, friend. There we go. You got the CV axle. This part is like an older style, so it slides into the diff versus through the hub. This part bolts to the hub. So you have these adapters. See how this kind of looks like that pattern? That's because this pattern is also obviously what bolts to the hub. So you take this and you weld this onto your hub. Once you weld that onto your hub, flip it over and you bolt this to that. And you have adapters. So then you can run these axles all day long. First things first, here's what we gotta do. We have to disconnect this side. This is the side of the hub. We have to take these bolts out. Then we have to pull that side off. But what's gonna be easier is we're just gonna pry it out because the whole stub axle has to come out anyway. So 4 bolts, a pry, and we should be able to get to the axle nut on this side, and then we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and zip through this real quick. And the nut came off. Uh-oh. Sorry, YouTube. Let me get you set back up with some view. The nut came off, and now this comes off. Cool. See that? Pops right off of here, and then you're good to go. So let's move forward and I'll show you what we do from here. Whoops. This is a CV axle out of a Z31, which is an 84 to 89 if I'm correct. It's 84, 89. It's a turbo axle. All of them are the same. From anything I can find, all of them are the same. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. All of them are the same. You take these axles, and this side is going to slide into your differential. How I said that the stub doesn't need to go back in, it's because this stub is going to be replaced by this axle stub right here. So you slide that in. Now the hard part, lengthwise and everything, they fit. These are the CV axles from Rock Auto. There's some weird reviews on them because they're not a cage bearing setup. They're what's called a tripod setup. The tripod setup means that there's a 3 bearing, oh, let me see if I can make it with my fingers, like a 3 bearing setup kind of like this, and the other one goes in at like that, and it creates an axle, a joint that way. The bearing setup, the cage setup is a little bit different. These are, now the turbo axles originally are cage setup. These ones are not. So they say these are going to be weaker. That's fine. I ordered them for $150 for both of them, shipped to my door. Not a big deal. So if they break, we'll go find real Z32 axles. I just wanted to get the car on the road soon. It's harder to find those axles and everything. Also, one other pro tip is that these axles are dependent, or are different side to side. So there is a driver's axle and there is a passenger axle. The difference is when you go to push this in, it will not seat all the way into here the way that you want it to if it's on the wrong side. So just be mindful of which side you're using. So lengthwise, same. Let's go ahead and I'll show you how this is going to work. So you have these adapters. These adapters have a recess here, a round recess, up, and 4 holes for the bolts, for the axles. So you see the holes? Conveniently, this axle has 4 holes. And it sits like so. You get bolts that go through there, bolt it together. Great. This is on the wheel side. On the wheel side, you have your hub. This is part of the bearing setup. This presses onto a hub setup. Your rotor comes over here, wheel out here, so on and so forth. This sits in there just like that. See if I can get you a better view. It sits down in there just perfect. Okay, so what we're gonna do first before we weld is clean up the metal. That's what we're gonna do. Ready? Here we go. Okay, thanks. So we should be good with the welding. And by good, I mean like they should be done, not that I'm good at welding. I'll clean them up. Once I clean them up, then I'll show them to you because they don't look awesome yet. But I'll clean them up and then I'll show them to you. And then we'll go ahead and install them. So it's not the prettiest, but it should get the job done. Basically, here's the hub with the adapters on it. It's welded along here. Welded down in the holes. I welded a little bit in here. Again, I'm not a professional welder. You can do this better than I can. So make sure you do it better than I can and make a better video than I did so everybody else can see it. But here it is. We'll go ahead and install this onto the car so you can see how it goes on. Okay, so one thing I did have to go do is I did have to go buy hardware for everything. So I had gone up, I think it was M10 was the size that fit through the holes really well. So I got M10 by 1.5, kind of a medium coarse thread, or a medium thread pitch, what I'm trying to say. So I got bolts, got nuts, and I did get lock washers because I don't want it coming apart. So I'll probably actually use Loctite as well on this and put it on the nut going back onto the hub. So yeah, let's go ahead and show you the install part. Okay, so we put some thread locker on the inside of here, some blue. We used this Permatex blue thread locker, and we put that on the nut. Now we're going to drive the nut down on there, tighten it all up, and then we will start installing the axle. So, axle is in. Looks good. Everything looks solid. Let me go ahead and give you a view of everything. So, as you can see, the CV axle is in the differential. Let me see if I can get the flashlight up in here. CV axle is in the differential and bolted, if it'll focus, on here. Again, not the best welder. The welds are solid though. I did grind them down so they look even worse than they did before, just to try to make them look better, but they didn't help. But the axle is in. You can see it there, bolted up. So now at this point, we should have pretty good axles back here. I did fix the brake line as well. When the last axle broke, it broke the brake line. But yeah, here we are. We should be good. Everything spins freely, no problems. Yeah. One thing I do want to go ahead and say as well, a lot of people have asked me if I've had any issues with the BCs being welded on. I have not. Also, with that, the guy that I had weld mine, a good friend of mine from high school, his name is Drew Herdeman. He did a great job. And also what he has done is, if you look right here, I'll kind of point at it, but I can't point at it and hold the light. Let me see if I can find a way to do this. That kind of works. Okay. So, if you look right here, he actually drilled a hole in through that and into the shock or down to the shock body, and welded reinforcement up through here. So I haven't had any issues, and I don't suspect that I will. But yeah, I just wanted to address that real quick while I was right here looking at it. But yeah, axle is in. Let's go ahead and get the other side in so we can get the wheels on the car and the car back on the ground. I'm pretty excited because it looks super good. I'm so excited about it right now. Yeah, on to the next side. Okay guys, thank you for sticking around and watching the video. I hope this helped you. Whether you're getting ready to install axles or you're thinking about upgrading your axles in your Datsun, I wanted to explore the option that I took, which was the CJ Cave adapters. Cave Performance Fab, I think, is the name of the shop. I'll drop it in the description. And then buying the axles. That's the cheapest route to go. I have about $350 in my setup now, and so far so good. I've only driven it one time. I didn't get any footage. The camera died right beforehand, and the brakes are having an issue right now from where it ripped the brake line out. So I can't go drive it right now, or I would. But it's the most cost-effective route to go. The other option, there are drive shaft shop axles, which are great. I don't have $1,100 to spend on axles. If you do, more power to you. I know that they're awesome, but these hold up just as, I'm not gonna say just as well because I don't know, but these hold up really well. CJ is putting down a ton of power. He has an LS Turbo Z car, and it's awesome, and he's been running it for years. So hit him up if you want some adapters made, get some axles. I'll throw a link to the in the description of the axles that I used. It's better to buy the factory axles. From what I've been told, it's better to have the actual factory ones, just because of the bearing, the actual CV type that it is. So hopefully this explains how to properly do the axle install, and maybe sway you into doing the axle install. If you liked the video, drop a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, drop a thumbs up anyway. You're here anyway. Might as well do something nice for somebody. Subscribe if you want to see future content. And you have a wonderful day. We'll catch you later. Don't do drugs. Bye.